Food is medicine. Good food is good medicine. Bad food is bad medicine. I think we all understand. I think we're all clear on that thought process. Guess what? Your insulin can't outrun your mouth, right? I say that all the time. Your insulin cannot outrun your mouth, meaning that the diet that you have when you're outside of the hospital is so much more different than what's going on, y'all. Dr. Barry here. So I know you cut out sugars, you meal prepped, you followed everything you were supposed to do, but yet my labs aren't getting any better. My bones still ache, my joints hurt, like I'm not losing the weight like I'm supposed to. Like, what is going on here? You tricked me, right? Like, which is a common conversation that a lot of healthcare providers have, right? When they do finally get someone to turn that corner and fix their diet. But we're going to talk about today, like, why just fixing your diet may not be enough, right? Again, I'm Dr. Barry Pierre, board certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays. And we're going to talk today about why just, fixing your diet, like, it isn't enough, and why you still may be sick unless you take care of some other things, right? And we're going to talk about the other things, of course, right? This is the thing that I like, right? Did you know, right? You may not know, right? But, I got my trusty assistant here letting me know, to let you know. 55% of people who overhaul their diet still report having no real benefits, right? Symptomatically, they still feel the same after 6 months of changing their diet. And you're like, hold on, Dr. Pierre, you told me if I just fix my diet, then everything will be good, right? The stress level will go down, the inflammation level will go down, my blood pressure will improve. You told me that's all I needed to do. And that was partly true, right? There was a part of it, right? Because obviously you can't fit everything in one episode, right? But we're going to talk about today, what are some other things you definitely need to be doing on top of the diet fix that needs to get you to where you need to get to, right? So remember, if you've not had a chance already, subscribe to the episode, right? Shout out to my YouTube folks, right? Shout out to my YouTube folks. Subscribe to the episode. You got to be there. You got to be subscribed. We want to see you there. Subscribe to show, hit the notification bell for your own podcast. Hit that notification, hit that subscribe, leave us a comment, 5-star comment, of course. Let us know what you're feeling about the episode, right? So let's talk today about why your diet change just isn't enough. All right, so I think before we get to this point, right? Because again, we stress, right, the need to focus on diet because diet is important, right? We're not gonna act like if you don't fix your diet and you do some other things, everything's about right. No, the diet is important. We talk all the time, especially for my diabetic patients who and they deal with this phenomenon a lot. They're in the hospital and their typical insulin regimen that they normally take drops their blood sugar so low when they're in the hospital. And they're like, Doc, I don't understand what you mean. And I said, well, this is actually quite common because guess what? Your insulin can't outrun your mouth, right? I say that all the time. Your insulin cannot outrun your mouth, meaning that the diet that you have when you're outside of the hospital is so much more different than the diet that you have inside the hospital. Because guess what? Inside the hospital, I just put diabetic diet. I put a calorie count. Boom, that's what you get. You don't get nothing more than that because that's what you're supposed to get. But at home, you're able to eat a little differently. You're able to do some more things. It's a much different ball game at home, right? And which is why the insulin regimen that you have at home, yeah, it works when you're at home. It don't work when you're in a controlled environment. And of course, obviously, we can't walk around in controlled environments to control our diet. So we got to make sure that our non-controlled environment, which is when you're outside of the doctor's office, outside of the hospital, outside of any medical care facility, it's that, right? So understand, right? And this I love this, right? Everywhere you looked, and this is a funny quote, everywhere you look, diet is marketed as the cure-all, right? Everywhere you look, just fix your diet everywhere. But we understand, right, in our healthcare system, that treats us like this assembly line sick care process, right? The sick care system, get in, get out, get in, get out. We understand that, you know what, there may not be enough time, right, to educate on everything else you need to do, right? So that's why we have to focus one episode specifically on the diet, just so we can get y'all to meal prep, to watch the labels, to exercise more, to avoid the hydrogenated foods and the corn syrup and the sugars and the swap out like that was last episode. Catch last episode if you didn't catch last episode. But this where we're going to talk about like what you need to do on top of everything else. But obviously the foundation is changing up that diet, getting the right diet. But there's some other things we got to do that we're going to talk about, right? So let's get to the point where why food itself isn't fixing the problem, and that's what you want to know. All right, so let's talk about let's speak our truth here. Let's speak the truth here, because let's speak the truth. Let's speak reality of what's happening. Food, right, is medicine. We know that. Good food is good medicine. Bad food is bad medicine. Oh, can y'all follow me here? Food is medicine. Good food is good medicine. Bad food is bad medicine. I think we all understand. I think we're all clear on that thought process, right? I think it makes sense for us. We kind of understand like what's kind of going on here. But what we need to realize when we talk about chronic diseases, there are three things that we need to not overlook if we want to make sure that good medicine becomes great medicine. What are the three things, Dr. Pierre? What are the three things, Dr. Pierre? Let's get the right. Number one, sleep deprivation. A lot of y'all are not sleeping enough. And I say this all the time. A lot of y'all are not sleeping enough, right? There's a lot of people, right? We talked about this, right? 25% of y'all have metabolic syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, probably sprinkle in a little obesity. A lot of y'all are not sleeping well. A lot of y'all have very poor sleeping habits. You're sleep deprived. You're not going to bed long enough, and when you're going to bed, you're doing all kinds of things that you shouldn't be doing in the bed, right? This is a PG show, y'all. This is a PG show. Y'all are doing things that you shouldn't be doing in the bed to help you go to sleep, right? And the problem is because you're doing that, you become sleep deprived, and you may not notice it, right? You may not notice it day one. Monday, you're cool, you're bouncing. Day two, there's a little bit. Day 3, day 4, all of a sudden that lack of sleep has caught up to you, and by Friday you can't wait to get out the office. Like, I'm tired, man. This has been a long week. No, you just haven't slept. Like what you think is a long week is your body saying, "Hey, I have not had a good enough rest this whole week, and I need a whole weekend to try to recatch up to everything." And even on the weekend, y'all doing all kinds of things where y'all can't get to sleep. So understand. It's important. Very important to understand that. Yes, you got to get your sleep. So a lot of y'all sleep deprived. Number 2, we talked about this. We got a whole episode on this. Unmanaged stress. You guys want to have the best diet, but your stress level is out the wazoo, right? Your stress level is out the wazoo. Of course, you're not losing the weight. Your blood pressure not being controlled. Your sugar's not being controlled because you guys are so stressed. And you're not managing it appropriately. You don't know how to manage it appropriately. You don't know how to talk to people to manage it appropriately. That's why, right, that diet change didn't really help, right? So again, stress hormones can increase inflammation, leaky gut, even if you're eating appropriately, right? So even when you're eating appropriately, if your stress level hormones are out the wazoo, it don't even matter. It don't even matter, right? Number 3, underlying conditions, right? Again, this is where we talk about thyroid diseases, infections, diabetes, like all these other medical conditions are playing a role, right, are playing a role that you may not even know about, right, are playing a role in why your diet is not getting you all the way together, right? So understand, like, 1, y'all ain't sleeping right. 2, your stress levels ain't right. 3, so there's either some disease processes that we haven't even got to yet, or a disease that have been underlying that hasn't been controlled yet, right? Because again, it's one of those like chicken and egg, right? If I control my diet, will my blood pressure get controlled, or will my blood pressure be controlled, help control my diet? I don't know. That's a good question. That's what you're here for, right? That's why it's a multi-pronged approach, right? Of working on the diet, working on the stress, working on the sleep habits, getting away from processed food. This is an approach, right? Again, and remember, I told you this ain't got. A lot of y'all have been addicted to some of these food problems for years. A lot of y'all have these bad addictive food habits for years, and you want 6 months to go by and everything be okay. If it was that easy, you guys would have already done it, right? And that's why I always stress my patients. If changing your habits that you've been having for years, for decades was that easy to adjust, you guys would have already did it. So once you realize that, all right, this ain't gonna be easy, right? But you know what, Dr. Pierre, the Lunch Alert community, right? My doctor, right? Whoever your doctor is, got me, right? Then we understand that we're here for the marathon, right? This isn't like a sprint. This is a marathon, right? And with this marathon, we're going to get ourselves together. With the marathon, we're going to make sure we're doing what we need to do to do us right. So, again, number one, get a good sleep assessment. A lot of y'all, especially metabolic syndrome folks, a lot of y'all probably have some underlying sleep apnea that y'all don't know about. Go check that episode out. Very important episode. One of my biggest episodes on YouTube. Write down your biggest daily stressors and recognize if you notice any flare-ups or any food changes or any appetite hungers that start picking up when you start getting emotional and stressed out. Schedule a checkup. Get your regular checkup that you should be doing anyways, right? Because again, we're not, and I'm not saying take a medication, right? I'm not saying you need to take some magical pill, because one, there is no magical pill. There's not going to be a magical pill. This is going to be an inclusive, encompassing approach to getting your health care together, right? And we're going to get you there. We're going to get you there. I promise you we will, right? But you got to understand that 6 months, that ain't nothing. I can assure you, because you've been doing it for years. You've been doing it for years. I can assure you the 6 months of change in your diet ain't going to be enough, right? So, and again, we got to knock out let's get our debunking time, right? Wellness warriors trying to sell you some diets and powders. It ain't gonna work, fam. It's not gonna work for you. Reason why it's not gonna work for you, right? Because again, we haven't took care of the other issues, right? We haven't took care of the stress. We haven't took care of the sleep habits. Where we haven't made sure all of our other medical issues are in line and check. So all that stuff is not gonna work, right? There's no supplement. There's no medication. There's nothing I can give you to have the quick fix to take care of all of these things here. It is a multi-pronged approach, right? So no supplement, no smoothie, no single food will cure everything in your body. It just doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen that way. Trust me. I can assure you, if there is a single medication that can not only fix your diet, I'm not talking about like Ozempic and everything like that, like that can manage your diet, right? But not only can fix your diet, but then manage your stress, manage your sleep, manage your other If there was one single medication, whoever makes that medication would be trillionaires. They'd be trillionaires. But because there's not one medication, that's why this multi approach to kind of getting us together is so important, right? Because it's never going to be a one size fit all for one person. It's not. Some people may only need to fix the sleep. Once they fix the sleep, everything is good. Once they fix the sleep, everything is good. Some people may only need that. Others need the sleep and kind of assess the rest of their body, making sure everything else is ticking right? Some people need all three. Some people need to go back and actually see if they actually are working on their diet like they say they are. Because a lot of y'all think y'all doing a great job with your diet. But then when we start doing a little calorie count and we start like doing a quick little journal, you're not accounting for that little snack that you like to have, right, every other day. You're not accounting for that little quick little coffee run that adds about 800 to 1,000 calories in that little small little, what is it, venti? Or I don't know what the sizes are at Starbucks or whatever the small size is, but you're packing, sugar and butter pecan swirl and whatever these coffee. I don't drink coffee, so whatever these things that y'all be packing in y'all coffee to get y'all going throughout the day is about 1,000, 1,500 calories, right? Like y'all ignoring that aspect of it because you say, "Oh, I only ate a small meal." Like, all right, so a lot of things we got to do, right? So again, to conclude, we appreciate you and we love y'all that y'all are fixing your diet. We love it. And 3 months later, 6 months later, you may not see any change or difference. We understand that, right? We understand it, right? Yep, it sucks. It does. But we got some things we got to work on, right? So we're gonna work on our sleep, right? We're gonna work on, making sure our medications are where they need to be, right? We're gonna make sure we're actually doing an appropriate diet, right? We're gonna make sure these things we're gonna make sure all of our other medical issues are right, and we're gonna make sure the stress level is low, right? And manageable, right? Not low like it's not gonna happen, because we talked about it a couple episodes in the past. You're gonna have stress. Stress ain't going nowhere. You're gonna have stress. Stress ain't going nowhere. What we do know is that if we take care of this, what we need to take care of. Yep. If we take care of what we need to take care of, it may be 6 months, it may be a year, maybe 2 years before we really see some results, but the results will happen. So again, I'm yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre. You guys be blessed. Y'all have a great evening.